Hello everybody, this is Lodge, and today I'm going to be talking about my first thoughts and impressions over the Neo The World Ends With You demo that is out on PlayStation 4 and Nintendo Switch. And for this video I'll be playing the PS4 version. While I own the original The World Ends With You game on Switch, as of right now I have not played it yet, so I can't tell you how it compares to this demo. Although if by the end of this first thoughts video you're interested in checking it out, I know that these two games have completely separate stories and characters. So you can go from the one game to the next one without too much overlap. Well, the demo starts out with a cutscene foreshadowing some events that we'll see later in the game, and some of these are even shown in the demo. Next we see the main area of Shibuya, and see all of the NPCs looking really blocky. And I think this is a way to help the player differentiate between important characters and characters that are just walking around the city to make it seem more like a city. But it doesn't really matter because it's just kind of like the art style of it all. Next, the game goes into these text messages with our two main characters of this demo talking about where they would meet up. Oh, and in these text messages, there's going to be a lot of emojis. Some of them are like Final Fantasy mascot characters. And I think that's pretty neat. Oh, also, some of these text messages go on like a little bit too long with like repeating emojis. Like one of them, doing it once would have been enough. But no, they gotta do it like 3 times just to make sure you know Fret is sorry. And here we are with the introduction to our main protagonist, Rindude. And we go to the 104 building and meet one of our allies in the game. Oh, the cool thing about this game does, as you're overhearing like conversations, it comes up in these like portrait boxes where you can see the NPCs talking. I think that's an interesting way to show quick little conversations happening without having like little text boxes over the models of NPCs. Also, we get another text message from Swallow. A little later in the demo, I think Rindude is kind of obsessed with this character. Talking about them before they've even like actually met. I don't know if I'll bring it up when we get to it, but yeah. Well, we finally make our way to Rindude's friend, Fret. Man, everyone has weird names in this game, I guess. But anyway, it says he's brought some Reaper pens for each of us. And I just wanted to say, I think the character designer, Tetsuya Nomura, does a great job and work with all these characters we've seen. I just wanted to give my praises on the art style earlier rather than later with us. Now we get to make an actual choice in this game, and that choice is what to eat. I'm not sure if the previous game gave a lot of these choices, or if these choices have any like actual real meaning to the events later in the game. But when we do get to decide, we decide if we want to eat ramen or Indian food. I chose ramen because it was closer to the two, and Fret abbreviated it as men, which kind of caught me off guard, but okay. As we eat, we get more text messages from Swallow, and we learn that they play a mobile game that honestly sounds a lot like Pokemon Go. Then we start heading back to Scramble Crossing and see a guy in a red hood staring at us. Then as we make our way to the crossing, we see a cutscene of Rindude seeing some stuff. And I'm seeing all this fighting, and for some reason they think it's a movie. But only then they really notice that only them knows that all this is going on. Then as it seems to the characters that this situation isn't just a movie, a guy comes across on a big screen on a building and talks about
Sheeple of Shibuya. Got some red hot news for you.
No, I got a horrible feeling. Run!
A new game has finally begun.
Then as they're running away, a truck gets blown upside down and actually crushes Fret. I mean, he was just gone after that hit, like completely flat. But after some weird lights around Rindude, he goes back in time to right before Fret was crushed. And of course he chooses to make sure that Fret does not actually get crushed, because that was honestly kind of horrifying. They run into like this black dimension of some sort and see the truck that would have killed Fret. And then a little opening for the game that could have honestly been an anime opening where it shows a lot of characters, some of which we don't even get to see in this demo. I won't have the music play because I don't want to get copyright claimed on this video. Then Fret and Rindude meet a new person, some girl named Shoko, who's a Reaper. The Reapers are basically like the developers of the game. Maybe not like developers, but basically admins who run the game and give players quests to do. She registers us for the Reapers game and gives us some pens. And even though we have a ton of questions, Shoko just kind of leaves, which is pretty weird. Then we start day 1 of this game, and they are still questioning things. They meet a huge dude in the skull deer shirt. He basically explains that if you're in last place, you get like erased. And this is Sujiki, and he is a part of the Runebringers, the best team in the game. And he basically teaches us how to see the noise, which are the main enemies of this game. And once again, the enemy name is kind of weird in one of my first lost videos. And before he leaves, he says to not make quiet moves or he'll break the border of the game. which could only mean us. And now that we can actually see the noise, we get to get into the actual combat of the game. You gotta scan enemies, and as the red comes down to you, you can fight them. And those pins we got before, they basically tell us what each character can do to attack. So right now we can press triangle and square to do both Rindude and Fret's attacks. That's basically just button mashing at the time until you see the drop the beat, where you'll want to start attacking with another party member. This is how you'll basically get combos in the game. And with that, we erase the noise. Then our phone tells us we actually have to do some Reaper's orders, but before we can actually do anything, Fret and Rindude realize they're able to hear people's thoughts. And they meet the red hoodie guy, who's apparently another Reaper, and he gives us our first mission. Our first mission of the game is pretty simple. We just have to go around the map and find the skulls, and gotta walk around until you find them. You do a little fight and rinse and repeat until you find all 4. Oh, also when you start a fight, the characters in your party get a chance to like say something, and Fret says this.
Ready? Galaxy Brain, activate!
And if I remember one thing from this demo, it's gonna be that. After we find everything, that TV guy comes back on, but this time from our phones. Learn that he is the game master and name is Sheba, and he loves to call people sheeple. He basically tells us that we're gonna have to take down a target, and he talks about our group specifically. Yeah, Fret just kind of made a group without telling Rindude, then named it after Rindude. Kind of a weird choice, but we get a much cooler name in a little bit. Then before we tackle the boss for this mission, Rindude has to text Swallow again. Like, I can't be the only one who thinks texting them too much, right? Anyway, as we walk into the boss, we talk about what our name should be, and we don't decide on anything yet. Then we tell the Red Hoodie Reaper the answer to the question, yet the characters had to figure something out. But as the player, you don't really get to make any choice in this decision, which is kind of weird, but honestly it makes it easier on me. And now we get access to Shibuya Hierarchy, where the boss we have to take down is. After finding some more regular noise, we get surrounded by a lot of noise, until some like math nerd comes out to save us. He literally put in so many math references. And honestly, this guy looks like the complete opposite of someone who's actually really into math, that he has to like say it in every single sentence. Anyway, he joins our party as another member, and we get to use a new button to control him. After we clear out all the noise, we get to learn that his name is Sho Minamito. Also, for the name instructions for all the characters, the English name is in the back. It's usually covered by the character's art, which is kind of annoying when trying to learn names. But oh well. And even though he says he'd never join up with some Zeptograms like us, he still joins us. But anyway, at least we got a new party member who is very different visually from our other members. But anyway, we cleared out some more noise and we grab a pen. And these pens are basically the points that will tell us which team will win the game. And anyway, we get a new pen, which is basically also a new power, which in this case is just summoning fire under an opponent. And we finally make it to the boss and fight it. And other than almost dying, the bosses really aren't that different to regular enemies. And we learn that after that we're done for the day. And we figure out we can't message anyone, only Fret. How exciting. Then we can, for some reason, talk to Swallow again, and we end off day 1 there. On to day 2, and they realize they never got to go home. Days just skip one after another. And we have to do another riddle mission, just like the first day. And here we meet another Reaper, though this one's much more annoying than the others that we have met. But he does tell us that whatever team racks up the most points after 7 days wins this game. Everyone has to play to the end. And the winning team gets whatever they wish for granted, so the stakes are pretty high. Luckily, Minamito comes to head back to help us out for another day of these missions. And here we meet another Reaper who only communicates via text, and he runs a digital fortune telling shop. Though this is really all I'm going to see of him in the demo. He might have a bigger role in the main game. Now here we once again have to go around to solve these riddles, except now the app tells us that we're close or not. And after finding clues and finding some more noise, Rindude texts Swallow, and they actually reply, which is weird since they can only talk to people in the game. And as I am about to go to the final area for the final clue, my game actually crashes for some reason. And I'm not sure why it did this, but luckily the game has autosaves, so I don't lose too much progress. And I only have to redo the first clue, which isn't that hard since I already knew where it was. But before we go to the next area, we realize we are able to walk through everybody we passed through, and no one knows where we're here. That is until Shoko tells us we're in the underground, or basically the afterlife. Yeah, she tells us we're already dead, even though we don't remember dying. So, I remember Fret dying, but oh well. She tells us that we should pick up any pins that we find, and leaves again. And as we find the final graffiti clue, it seems like it has been painted over. But luckily, Fret learns a new ability using his Galaxy Brain to make people remember stuff. And to do this, you basically have to do a little puzzle with the control sticks to have the image appear by tilting the control sticks in a certain way to clear a clear image. Though for some reason I had a lot of trouble with this. But after having to do that a couple of times, we figure out the actual clue was, and we go back to 104. Shuba comes back on and tells us that whichever team will win, and another one will receive a punishment at the end of the week. Let's learn that Fret changed their names to the Wicked Twisters, which is already a much better name than the other one we had. Also, we get this cool name introduction thing for our team. Then we go to the 104 and beat our chest like a gorilla. Then an actually giant gorilla appears as the boss. And this boss is basically the same as the other one, just hit it until it dies. Except it has a move where it climbs up the 104 building and jumps onto you unless you move. Oh, also it'll grab you, so if it does, just switch characters and hit it until it lets you go. But anyways, after doing a lot of good combos to take down the boss, I finally take it down, and that noise is erase. And right when we're about to grab a pen, a woman comes and takes it from us. And for some reason, Rendu and Fret just let them take it, and she is Konan Tachibana. Sorry if I mispronounce any names in this video. I have a hard time with that, as you can probably tell by my speaking. And she is the leader of another one of the teams, and basically the other teams grab the pen, so they get all the credit, which sucks for the Wicked Twisters, but oh well. Shuka comes up and tells us we are dumb for giving the pen away, and before she leaves she says that another player is here, and I'm gonna bet that's gonna be Swallow since we can still text with them. Then after a little cutscene of the Reapers talking, we finish day 2, and with that, we finish up the demo. It ends with a little cutscene trailer going through all the characters you'll be meeting probably during the game. And after the demo, I gotta say, I'm definitely interested in what the main game has to offer. Combat is honestly super fun, and not exactly a button masher, though I did mash a few buttons along the way as I learned the combat. And yeah, I had a fun time with this. The actual quest for finding the clues is kind of boring as you just walk around to specific places, but these are just the first couple things you do in the game, so it could be much more interesting as the game goes on. The music is also pretty good. I found it a little bit repetitive in the main hub as it's just a little loop, though it makes sense seeing as you're going to be there for like minutes at a time, though I just kind of wish the loop was a little longer. Other than that, I enjoyed the music overall. The character designs are also very good and unique like I said earlier, and with that, I gotta say I'm much more excited to play the actual original game than I was before I played this. But anyway, if you wanted to check out the demo, you can get it on the Switch eShop or PlayStation 4 store, and give it a shot for yourself. If you enjoyed the video, have a good day, and goodbye.